In 2011, Elysium showed us a future where the wealthy lived on a space station with medical pods that could cure any disease in minutes, while the rest of humanity aged and died on a ruined Earth below. The problem with Elysium isn't that it's too dark, it's that it assumed we'd need a space station. Right now, a specific and very small group of people has access to AI-driven medical technology that is doing something that has never happened before in human history, not just extending lives, compounding them. The gap between their biology and yours isn't being created by malice, it's being created by a feedback loop, one that doesn't need anyone's permission to keep running. For most of human history, the rich died later than the poor, but they still died. The biological ceiling was the same for everyone. Death was the one tax no one avoided. That ceiling is cracking. Longevity clinics like Fountain Life and Next Health now offer full-body AI diagnostic platforms that map your entire biomarker landscape: organs, blood chemistry, cardiovascular risk, inflammation markers, and predict problems 18 months before symptoms appear, 36 months before a standard doctor would order a test. At first, this sounds like expensive healthcare, a premium version of what everyone else gets. The technology works. It genuinely works. Patients walk in with no symptoms, no complaints, feeling completely fine, and leave with an appointment to treat a stage 0 cancer the size of a grain of rice. Not a diagnosis, not a treatment plan for something already spreading, a detection of something that hasn't announced itself yet. That is the difference between a 5-year survival rate and a clean bill of health. But here's what happens to a technology that works, and only some people can access it. Think about what this access architecture actually looks like in practice. A clinician at one of these facilities reviews an AI diagnostic for a patient. The system has flagged a pancreatic biomarker. Stage 0, completely treatable. She logs the alert, schedules the intervention, then she opens her own profile. The basic tier shows her biomarkers. The predictive layer, the model that tells you what's coming, requires the premium subscription, $25,000 a year. She types a note on her own file, premium tier, next year, closes the tab, walks back into the consultation room. She just extended someone's life. The system won't do the same for her, and this is where the loop becomes visible. Longer access to better diagnostics means problems get caught earlier. Earlier problems are cheaper and more survivable to treat. More years of survival means more wealth accumulation. More wealth means continued access. The loop runs forward indefinitely, and it pulls the people inside it further from the people outside it with every year it runs. Inequality means people live differently. Divergence means they become different. In February 2026, tech entrepreneur Bryan launched a program called Immortals. $1 million a year, 3 spots available, 24-hour AI monitoring, continuous biomarker tracking, round-the-clock medical concierge. His stated goal, written publicly, is not to live longer. His stated goal is to not die. 3 spots. That is not the ceiling of what money can currently buy in longevity medicine. That is the opening sentence of a conversation that has been happening without you in it. There is something else being built underneath it. As of early 2026, 173 AI-discovered drug compounds are in active clinical trials. Systems now design novel molecular structures from scratch, not in years, in days. A 2025 Scripps research study found AI-selected compounds showed a 70% success rate in extending the lifespan of model organisms. The historical human success rate was somewhere between 5 and 10%. Imagine a treatment exists right now that could extend your functional health span by a decade. The data is already in. The compound works. You can access it in approximately 12 years, after exclusivity periods expire, after regulatory approvals complete, after manufacturing scales to a price standard healthcare can absorb. The people who funded the research are already in the trial. The treatments will come. The access won't come at the same time. But even if you've absorbed all of that, the diagnostics gap, the compounding advantage, the drug pipeline, you are still thinking about this as a story about people who are already alive. It isn't. In clinics operating right now, parents with the financial means are using AI-powered polygenic embryo screening to analyze embryos before implantation, not just selecting against disease, selecting for predicted cardiovascular efficiency, metabolic health, cognitive markers, projected longevity indicators. Companies like Genomic Prediction are doing this today, legally. in jurisdictions that permit it, which is where the clients go. The wealthy are not just living longer, they are engineering the biological starting point of the next generation. This is not expensive healthcare. Expensive healthcare means some people receive better treatment. This means some people begin at a different biological baseline, one that changes the starting line before any later effort even begins. Here is where this leads. A child born inside the loop today gets a stage 0 detection system from birth, access to drugs that extend functional health span a decade before the public sees them, and a genome that was screened and selected before they drew their first breath. A child born outside the loop gets a standard blood panel at their annual checkup. The gap isn't being inherited anymore. It's being constructed. For most of human history, wealth changed what you could do with your life. For the first time, it is changing what your life is made of. The obvious response is regulation, cap access timelines, mandate public availability windows for breakthrough treatments, treat longevity medicine as infrastructure, the way vaccination programs were built, the way antibiotics were eventually standardized across healthcare systems. That argument is coherent. In a system where institutions move at the speed of the problem they're addressing, they don't. Longevity technology is outpacing every regulatory framework currently capable of responding to it. The jurisdictions most equipped to implement restrictions are not where the research is concentrated. The embryo screening happening today is already legal where it is offered, and the gap between what is scientifically possible and what is publicly accessible grows larger every quarter. The other path is public investment. Fund the pipeline from the beginning. Structure the ownership publicly. Make access a condition of the research grants. Theoretically possible. Historically rare. Right now the money is private. The ownership is private, and the access is private. There is a window in which that could change, but it requires understanding what is at stake before the gap between those inside the loop and those outside, it becomes permanent across generations, before it locks into place quietly, without announcement, while most institutions are still deciding whether this is a real problem. That's not a small problem. That's the problem. So when we ask what AI technology only the rich can already access, maybe we need to be more precise about what we're actually asking. The question isn't what technology. We know what technology. It has a name, a price, and a clinic address. A child born 10 years from now may enter the world with biological advantages that no school system, no healthcare reform, and no amount of effort from everyone else can fully close. Not because the system failed, because the system was priced. There is a threshold, not a dramatic announcement, not a single policy failure, just a quiet accumulation of years, beyond which the biological gap between those inside the loop and those outside it becomes too wide for any mechanism a democracy can build to close. We have always accepted that some people get more. We have never had to decide whether some people get to be more. And nobody asked us,